Hey, how you doing? How's everybody going? Let's do it to it. Okay. Come on. Just sit down, baby. Come on. Hey, no being grouchy, buddy. Alright. This is my baby boy. Let's see. One second. I gotta put my sweetie out really quick. That's my baby boy. You guys all got to see my new sweetie. Okay, let's do this. Oh. Oh. Drat. Must have missed something somewhere. Let me see here. Ah. Oops. Take here, and takes. There we go. Let's find out where I went wrong on this one. Something. Oops. Ah. Queen with check. That's the problem. Okay. Oh, here we go. That's me. Let's try a new one. Get one more. Just hang it. What you have to do is hang in there and not get rushed. That's what happened with a couple of my problem things. Take there. Take here. Take there. Here. And then you went there. So take here. That's me. So takes, bishop takes, there we go. That wins material. This wins material too as well. That wins a rook. That wins a knight. That wins. Let's see here. Here. Oh, that's my fault there. I should have seen something better. And then you bring the knight in. Okay. Then you grab the rook. And you check. You take there, and then you come in. Takes. Let's see if we come here. No, that doesn't work. Let's see which takes. For some reason I'm missing something. Maybe it's takes. Oh, there it is. Oh, you gotta move the king. And you grab the. Oops. You must check at that point. Okay. Drat. That was a tough one. I kind of blundered on this. Oh, that's mate. Okay, I missed mate there. And then they grab there, and that's checkmate. So I missed mate twice. I looked at just grabbing the knight rather than the whole board. I thought about this here, and then you pick up there. Yep. So give it another shot. doing? Oops. This takes here. I got it. Ah. Oh man. I'll try it one more time. Oh, so close. Darn. Let's see. Come on. Ah. What did I get wrong? Let me check. Under time pressure, I probably blundered something. Oh, okay. Ah, there we go. So bishop takes, not knight takes. So that was my mistake on that one. It's just calculation problems. Let me see here. I'm gonna have to call it on that one, and then we'll get on to our. We're gonna do an opening. I have some already downloaded ones on chess, alliedchess.org, and we'll go over some of the London system one line, because it's always good to mix it up a little bit, then go into our variations of chess. Our puzzle rush, but we should implement an opening with that. Let me see here. What did I? When? Oh, that makes sense, because if he takes there, okay, if he takes here, back here, if he takes here, then we actually take with check. Okay, should have seen that one. Let's try this one here. Oh, wait a second, we already did this one. We already know this one. So let's see, this one here, we didn't, we made a mistake on. Okay, just push. Not really. I know a little bit of the Ruy Lopez, but not, I haven't, mastered it as much as the London. Okay, so, 1 second. Be right back. Just gotta go AFK for a second. Alright, back to the stream we are. And let's go to our studies. We got a lot of studies. Let me see. Oh, the French. I like the French. Let me see. How to reset your chess, endgames. Okay, let me go through our London 1. Ah, the London system. Here we go. Here we go. 1 sec. Gotta get a sip and then we'll get started. Well, yeah, we went over it. D4. Oops. Oops, delete. Well, this is from Play the London. We went over the entire book, and I was able to we did it as a lesson. It was a long time ago, and so I just recorded it as a study for our group to look at. So this is the London, pure London system. There's other different types of London systems that you can go down, and so this one is the pure London system. There's a route that you can go down via if you wanted to go down the F4 London system type of setup, like if you want to do knight F6, bishop F4, and then you can actually go via like this, and then if your opponent comes out, you can make the pyramid and do a type of London system. You can even trade off the bishops and go into this type of a London. The knight does get a pretty nice outpost, but you can kick it off with F3. When the knight goes back, then you actually can pin it. And we like playing F d4, h4. And let's see, you can go down another line if d4, and then there's some lines that are very tricky after knight f3, c5, and then you have to always with queen b6. This is kind of the one thing that tests the London system, is this type of a setup. Then you have to play there, and you go into kind of a gambit-y line. This is like a gambit line, and then you attack there, and then the queen retreats back, and you kind of set up something like this. First, for a little bit of time, if there's a gambit. There's also a line where you can check, then you bring the knight, and then you set up something like this, and you still win a pawn. Yeah, there's a London system type of gambit, but the game actually went. You can do it a different way. Enter the pure London system. I like calling it the pure London because there's different types of Londons. There's like gambits and all that. The pure London system could come from knight f3. There's only one problem with this knight f3 line, if I can remember. It's been a long time since I've gone over the London. Oops, sorry, I gotta come down this way. Yeah, you don't want to. You have to keep this open. So here, 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 and I believe this is the line that you kind of lose on right here. This isn't a really good. You have to retreat your queen off this diagonal. So that's why Simon Williams, of course, plays the pure London system, and he has a really good YouTube one on the London system, and that's why he says that on this move here, this is actually from it was played this after here, of course, this rather than bring your knight out right away, you actually hold off on that, and you play you play like this. I'll show you here, knight d2, and then if the queen tries to play like this, and then oops, sorry, that's too soon. That's way too soon. Let me see what. Okay, not bishop f5. Sorry, it's oops, come on, c4, and because we don't want to trade off, because this helps open up a line for the rook to come in on our rook. We don't want to do that. Then we have to waste the tempo to play. So if we traded here and they took back, the rook actually attacks, so we have to waste a move, which allows your opponent to play something like this. Yes, it's okay. You probably could just move the rook out and then still be okay, but who wants to waste the tempo on that? So that's why we just retreat our queen to c2, and the line bishop f5 doesn't work as well anymore, because you can actually grab it, and then you can actually go down. There's two lines. One line is where the queen grabs here, and then you can take the pawn here, and if like check, and you come up, there's some types of you probably wouldn't want to retreat the knight back, the rook back. You probably would want to bring the king up, and then after grabbing, there's a lot of problems that will come about with this type of position. That's why you got to be really, really careful. You can develop your knight and get it into e5. The rook also, you can play bishop and then try and attack, or h5. But there's many ways of going about it. But this way here is what was actually played, and this is the pure London system. And usually if your opponent knows theory, they'll go down this, but there is a line that you can lose material if you don't know what you're doing. And if you don't lose material, you just get a very passive position. This idea here is based upon the light square weaknesses, and it's mainly E5. So this trading allows for the bishop. So you're playing against the bad light square bishop of black. I call it the French bishop because it's very, very similar to a French structure. But this is really, really hard for black to break down. So what would happen is if he tried c5 here, that doesn't work as well anymore because you can just grab it at that point. So you take here, queen d6. g3 is a very positional move that you can actually, if you wanted to, jump your knight in, and you have a really good knight. And this also prepares g4 to be played too. So you'll probably see like an h5 here, an h5 move being played if they want to stop g4. But sometimes your opponents won't see your idea of that type of play, and they may actually play something like b3 to get the bishop out, to exchange off the bad bishop for the good bishop. And then you could play, if you wanted to, g4, then bishop a6, bishop takes a6, knight takes a6, and then potentially g5. But then knight d7 comes in, knight takes, queen takes. You have a lot of space, and you just got to be really careful. So what you're going to want to do is try to hop your knight in back to e, and there's this move here that could happen with knight in here, and then the knight comes, and we're not touching our knight. We want them to trade off to our knight, so that we can take back with our f pawn and basically have a really wonderful French defense setup, an advanced variation, a really good one for white. And so what you could actually do is play potentially c, and then if your opponent kind of they are like, whoa, oh wait a second, I am so sorry, he can't, that was my problem there. That was hanging the queen. Sorry, yeah, we'd have to play potentially maybe, no, you don't want to play there because then a5 will hit you. Probably something like e, and then what you can do at this point is kick the knight. The knight has to go back, and then you can actually start gaining some space. You can actually potentially play b3. I know how ridiculous that looks, but it's actually a really strong move. Then you have rook d8. At this point, you're going to want to play queen to e2, and r potentially maybe better would be queen to h. Maybe even better would be harry the h pawn, because now that your opponent can't oh, actually, wait a second. I'm sorry. That actually rook moves again a bad move, because then you lose a piece to a fork. So we need to come up with a different move on that. Hold on. Well, maybe right away c5 could actually be played. This could potentially be a gambited move, and then you can actually play there and have something like this. And queen there, rook, and then check. Some kind of interesting line, but just some ideas about that. B3 is a really strong move. See, the idea of B3 goes back to a kind of French setup against the London system. You're now trying to trade off your bad bishop for white's good bishop. So, right there. Queen e2. Queen e2 is an important move. It stops the trade on so a5. Now this renews it so that a rook and knight is actually protecting that, so that the bishop could actually come in. This allows that to be played. So now there's really no way to stop it, but you got your queen, you got castled. So a6, and then rook ac1. Rook ac1 is a exclam move as well, because what's going to happen after bishop takes, because you're trading off, c takes, and you're trying again to lock down this pawn, locks down on these two squares here, and so your rook now is placed wonderfully, and you can actually double up. Your rooks have the ability of doubling up and causing a lot of chaos. Surprisingly, Jeremy Silman talked about that there's students are taught that double pawns are bad, like double isolated pawns are bad, but they're not really. He says the only way that they're bad is if they can be attacked, and here these double pawns can't be attacked, and they gain a ginormous amount of space, and that space is going to cramp black down to defensive position. And c5 is actually a forced move, and that's what was actually played. So rook c2, this is threatening to double up and then basically go for a positional play. A6 prepares to jump into b4, so a3 has to be played, and then rook ac1. Now they're threatening to take, and so rook fc1 is forced. This stops the take of this pawn here because of you'd grab that rook. And then the queen plays a dubious move, which is queen b8. You don't really want to retreat your queen out, so potentially maybe something like this. And if we'll say that they try to lock this down, something like this here, black does have the ability to double up and put some tension on here, and then takes, and pawn push, and then you can at this point threaten an attack, and then king comes over, and then so you can't take because that would happen. So you might have to push with the pawn. That might actually, I know it's kind of dubious because then you have queen up here. So but you do have a knight coming in, and it guards the pawn. So and even you could if you wanted to just give up the pawn if you so desire, but you have to be careful. This actually picks up a piece. That's why you gotta always be on guard that you don't hang anything. So you kind of want to, what you'd want to do is just keep your pawns like this. This pawn really does a good job, so that's what black missed, and so black kind of went passive, and black's gonna get, yeah, the Nimzo Indian. Well, there's lines in the London that handle the Nimzo Indian, so you can. You can actually learn the Nimzo Indian from a type of London position, so you can learn different openings for different things. It's kind of interesting. That's what Simon Williams says, is he's actually been able to um, take some of his openings that he learned when he was a young kid and refine them. And then he says that he used to be like a c4 player, a pawn c4, an English player. His dad got him into the English. For a while he said he didn't have a really good results, but then when he mastered the patterns inside of the English, he started winning. See, a lot of his basically friends that were coming up did a lot of gambits, and he said that gambits work for a while, but you need to get a solid opening. So his dad got him in on the English, and then he found the London system, and then he fell in love with the London system. But he says, when you get to be a certain level, you have to learn other openings. There are other openings to go over if you want to, but you should pick one opening that you really like for each side. My Grandmaster teachers told me this, and then master that opening. What that means is go through the lines and then get to a middle game. See what type of patterns those middle games will metamorphosize into. What happens, like in the Ruy Lopez, if this trade happens, what happens? What does that middle game look like? Does it favor black? Does it favor white? And you'll start to get a feel for what variation you'll be able to play. And then even if your opponent is a Ruy Lopez player, you'll have more on board on how to handle it from the opposite side, that potentially you can, with good play from both sides, there'll be a draw, of course, best play, but you might be able to as they say, swindle a win from a draw, because you know more from of the Ruy Lopez or the Nimzo Indian, whatever you like as a chess player for an opening. So that's what's played. Queen b8, knight e5, queen b7, knight df3, and then knight d. This knight df3 is an important move to support the center thrust of. Oops, I need to hold on. I apologize. I have to. We're on move 17. Just 1 second. I have to go back just to enlarge the board. Otherwise, they have a new feature that allows you to enlarge. So be ready. I know it's got to be look kind of funky, look kind of weird for just a second. So just be prepared. Okay, good. We're back to our position, but the board is bigger now, so you can actually see it better. I think that was a cool feature that LeeChess.org implemented. It makes the board fit your screen, and I actually like that. So knight d7, and this is to support the take, so we can take back with our knight. And now white's more in positional land. Oops, we don't want to take there. So rook comes up. This kind of is more positional, trying to go for an attack on the pawn. Sometimes you can line up an attack, and then sometimes you even have the ability to take your queen and bring it to c2, get it like an Alekhine gun, and then potentially play b4 at that point. Knight takes e5 was a, in my opinion, a really bad mistake for black, because that was black's best piece on the board, and this allows the queen to take back. Now the queen's a powerhouse in the center, and what the queen can do is h4 can come, and it weakens. There's no kicker with f6, because the queen can just take at that point with check and be up a pawn. So g6 was played. Now this really causes problems for white, and well, it causes problems for black, but it helps white out. The dark squares are a tremendous weakness. All these squares are, this is like heaven sent for white. And now h4 gets played. Now we have Harry. You could have actually done Harry a little sooner, and then tried to basically steamroll the king side. But white built up. White senses that this, I always call it like a hangnail, kind of. That's what some grandmasters call them, because these they're just like there to be attacked, and it's not those. This isn't fun having that type of, or another type of sitch. Why isn't this? Another type of problem would be if this pawn was here, that one was there. Okay, oops. There we go. So h5. That's a forced move, but now we actually can implant our queen to f6, and we have the king that can actually come up. C takes, knight takes. Rook takes is also playable. Rook takes, and then rook e1 to try to get some attack for you there. But they took there, they took, and then rook takes. And now white controls the open file. Knight c5 tries to shut down lines for white, and so, but you can actually now do some. I don't want B. I want B. There you go. You can play g4 here, and now black's camp just falls apart, because this knight does a wonderful job of blunting out the queen's influence on the king side, and white can only be better here. G takes, and then H takes, and you have to remember that it's not about pawns. It's not about pawns. When you're going for a kingside attack, you want to try to open up the king, and so even if you have to sacrifice a pawn or two to pry the pawns away for the king, you got to do that. H takes, and then queen g5. b4. This attacks the knight. Takes, and then knight e. f5. And I know what you're thinking. Why doesn't the knight just grab here, right? That's what you're thinking, I know. Well, the reason is there's f6, and that's actually the, as I like to say, nail in the coffin, because that one pawn, there's no real way of saving the position. Even if you played this, that's checkmate. And if you tried something like this, that's checkmate. And so that's why the rook had to come over to g8. It's to actually stop f6 from coming. That you have to always ask yourself, why is my opponent giving me a piece? Sometimes it's a stalemating idea, which is what I had in one of my games, and I was able to actually win because I was a piece ahead for a pawn, a minor piece, and my opponent was really a really good player. They tried to stalemate. They tried to lock all the pawns on so they couldn't move, and they were even willing to give a rook up to get a position where the king couldn't move. But you have to, at that moment when they give you a rook, are about to give you a rook, think. Don't just grab it. Think to yourself for a second. Why are they doing that? Why? And then you look at the board, or maybe you have to look off to the side, like Nakamura sometimes in the Grandmasters. I've noticed that when they kind of have to take a moment, they'll either look up, and they have a board in their mind, of course, or they'll look to the side and then they'll look back, and that's just enough to kind of give your mind a refresher. And that's and if you have to do that, or if you have to close your eyes for a second and maybe count to 5, or if you say a prayer to the Lord Jesus, that's you can do that too, and that'll help get your mind back on track. But just don't always take, because that could be your opponent's plan. So takes G5, G7, Queen G5, back, Queen H4, and then Rook C6. And at this point, this is a subtle move here. Knight B2 was played. You're probably wondering why not take here. Well, you get the old puzzle rush mate, Queen H6. There, here, and there, and it's protected. Actually, I'll make dots, or dots, so it's a little bit easier. These squares are all protected, and then this rook protects the queen. So that's why Rook C6 was an exclam. That's why it was an exclam. Knight B2. Knight takes C6 is playable. There's also if E takes, queen there, so we already talked about that. So knight there, knight takes, F takes, and then rook takes E6. And as far as I know, there is no way in the world that black's gonna be able to hold this position. There's no way to win here. If he tries rook H8, you actually could set up a win of material if you want to, like rook H8. You could set up a win of material with this here. Then when he comes there, you can actually mate too if you wanted to mate. That's a mate. So we'll have to mark this, that this is where it stops. We'll put only move. Hold on. Only move, so that we know. That's one line. We're just going to go over lines to see if there is a way to save the position. I don't think there is. Okay. Let's see if they can save it via rook to F8. I really don't think so. I think the same result would more likely happen. Let me see. Check. 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 You can even pick up a queen if you wanted to and mate via that way here. So that's one line that you can go over. And I think even rook F8, you might even be able to play check here, and then check here. If king takes, you have check. If there, check. I'm not sure if that's actually winning now. I think the pawn push is too. You need that. So you can't really push with the pawn. I was trying to look for a better continuation. I'm thinking that also there's this idea of rook e7 that's pretty strong. So potentially, if they played this here, there's rook e7. And that's kind of, I think that's why the opponent resigned, was this move here. I don't think it was mate, because mate would have followed, but a rook at e7 is the win. It wins a queen. So now that we went over our London system, do you have any questions? Any questions on what we just went over before we go into our puzzle rush? No questions. Okay. Then away we go. And you're more than welcome to help with lines. If you see a line, don't feel like you can't put in a line. If it's taking me a little bit of time to solve one, you're more than welcome to put lines in. Okay, this actually wins with mate. Check, and then that wins a queen for a rook, 2 rooks. Okay, we actually win a rook there. We checkmate on h7. We skewer a rook and win it. Let me see here. So check up, check there, and then mate. So we actually mate in 3. That wins a queen via a discovery check. Rook takes h2 as mate. Okay, we have a fork, but that actually isn't good because the queen can grab it. Let's see, there's something that we're missing because these are straightforward puzzles. Let's see here. Let me move it back really quick. Okay, there. Maybe, oh, we can play knight d6, queen takes d6, and then queen takes f5, forks the rook. Okay, yeah, this actually does work because it grabs a rook. So pawn takes g4. If knight takes g4, bishop takes g4, h takes g4, and you win a rook. So you take. This actually, see, the king was defending the rook. Now we can actually win it via removing the defender. The knight defends, this knight here defends the bishop, so by removing it with check we can actually win the bishop. See, playing rook g2, and if when queen takes g2, we can actually pick up with check. When the queen blocks, we can actually win that pawn, and you win this pawn here. The queen checks, and then you can actually win a rook with from the queen, and you're up a piece. This move actually draws this knight away, and then you can checkmate. So you actually win a queen, because you can't take the knight, otherwise the queen would take the knight back. So you have to just win the queen. See this, I know what you're thinking. We can actually checkmate if we get two rooks like this. You're thinking g6, but the only problem is queen e3 actually guards h6, so the only move that wins is actually g5. Otherwise, the queen can guard via e6, the a2, not a2, a6. Sorry. Let me see here. See how we're doing. Perfect. We have plenty of time. See, knight comes in, attacks the queen, and undiscovers an attack on the bishop. And the rook and queen attack the bishop. There's only one defender. So let's implement that. Let's win the bishop. Surprisingly, a game can be won by a simple tactic. It's really, I know, there's a really good book for forcing moves. It's called, it's called Forcing Moves. And he calls a section in there called "It's Bread and Butter." I know that's funny, but it's like 3 to 4 moves, or 2 to 4 moves. Could actually win a game for a tactic if you can go like 4 moves out. It's better to go as far as you can out, of course, but sometimes just a simple 2 to 4 move sequence will win a piece, and that's enough to win the game. Even a pawn's enough to win the game if it's the correct pawn. Like if you have bishops of opposite color, let's say you have a dark square bishop, and your opponent has a light square bishop, and well, actually, I think let's say it comes down to a bishop and a rook pawn, but the queening square, that's what I should say, the queening square is a dark square. Let's say you're white, so you're down to this pawn and this pawn. You will win because you have the bishop of the queening square. But if you had a light square bishop in this, it would be a draw if the opponent king can actually get to h8. Just a little endgame fun. Endgames are always fun to go over. I know there's a lot of repetition to it, but trust me, a lot of games at certain levels, you're not going to be able to win in the middle game. They'll take you to the end game, and it's the person who can navigate through. Gary called it the black and white jungle, because there's the black pieces, and then there's the white pieces, and there's the black squares and the white squares. And he told that to Josh Wadeskins, and he told him about that. Okay, so let's see here. Well, I could only go to I can't go very long tonight, so we'll just we'll go to so we'll play this here. That wins a bishop. No, I don't. I appreciate that. But nah. No. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, that actually will trap. This actually wins because here, and then you fork. This sets up for a fork on d4, and you win a knight. Let's see here. I think it's bishop takes f. Bishop takes f6, because that undiscovers an attack on the queen via the rook on b1, and the rook on e2 is hanging. So let's do that. And then now you pick up a bishop. Be right back. Okay. That's right. Let me see. Yeah, that pulls the. That's right. Yep. I've seen this. Let's see here. Then knight comes back, so that doesn't work. Can we just win the? I think we just win the knight. Yeah, I think it's just winning the knight on that one. See if we take the bishop. Can we actually take the bishop? I think we can. Let me see, do we take the knight? I think we just take the knight. No, we can't take the knight because well, I guess we could. We could take the knight, then king g8. Yeah, I think you take the knight, and then king g8. There's no more mating threats. Yeah, h4. h4. Rook f6. And then rook takes f4. That makes sense. Let's see, is there any kind of forking that we can do here? Let me see here. There's queen takes e7, king takes e7, knight g3. I'm not sure, I don't think so. Let's see here. Take here, king takes, knight check, there. I don't think that works. Maybe it does. Let me see. Rook takes e7, king takes e7. G3. Just make a normal move. What would be a normal move though in this? Like Queen H6. That's what I was looking at. Queen takes E7. But the only problem is, if you come here and then you come down with check, the queen will intercept and you'll actually be down material. Yeah. So is it actually knight G3 then? Or I'm not really sure on this one. Knight G3 or queen. I'm pulled between two moves: Queen H6 or Knight G3. Those are two moves that I'm not sure, because those are the only really normal forcing attacking moves. But the only problem about the knight G3 is Queen takes D3 is actually mate. Queen takes D3, Queen, that's mate. Surprisingly. So you can't really move your knight. That's kind of like a no man's land thing. So I'm kind of thinking Queen H6, but that's the only way to save the queen. That's the only saving move. So let's just go with it. Oops. So I was wrong on that one. Ouch. That didn't feel good. Maybe rook, maybe it's... Oh, snap, I should have taken... Oh, I know what the move was. Oh. I can't believe that. Knight takes F5 check. And then queen takes F5. Well, yeah, queen takes F... No, pawn takes F5. And then rook takes F7. Ugh. That's so painful. Now I see it. Ouch. How do you look it up? And you can look it up later on your database and go over them. You know, if you make a mistake, you can actually go and go find the puzzles that actually work, and you can actually see where you're weak in your tactics, and then go over those. So let me see here. King b3, knight d4 check, king takes b2. No, because rotate knight. We were actually looking at knight takes. What was that? Knight takes f5 check. Knight takes f5 is on the prior one. That's right. Knight takes f5. Because it undiscovers an attack on the thing, yeah. Let me see here. So knight b3. I mean, not knight b3. I don't know. It's actually king b3. I'm thinking it's actually king b3, knight d4 check, king takes b2, knight takes b5. I'm thinking b3, knight d4, king a2, and then knight takes b3, king takes b3. Or maybe am I over pushing it? I'm thinking that's right. I just wanted to make sure I had to calculate it. Yeah, that makes sense. Then you take H8. But don't you have a check at that point on D1? Huh. And then he comes up. Check. Comes up, and then that'd be mate. Ouch. Yeah, it's never fun to get checkmated. Let me see. I'm thinking that's right. I was looking at that. Okay, so that. Alright. And king takes queen takes c3, check. Then the bishop intercepts. So is that too straightforward? A3 is better. Bishop A3. I think that is the best move. Oops. Uh-oh. Yikes. Two strikes. Let me see. What did I miss? So, so it must have been queen takes f3. Rotate d4. E takes d4. Rook e8. There's no way to get out of checkmate at that point. Yeah, this sets up for a typical type of mate. can't really play bishop. What can I? Let me see. Bishop g6, check. Queen, king g8. Queen h7, check. King f8. Trying to see if, yeah, I think that is the correct move. And then check there. Bishop check. Yeah. Yeah, then bishop check. Then you gotta bring. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So queen takes at that point. Queen takes. Queen. Yep, there it is. That's the mate. Just had to work it all the way out to the very end. So that was right. That move was right. You just had to make sure that all the lines were 100%. Let me see here. I'm thinking queen d5. Queen d5. Yeah. That threatens mate. Pawn takes c3, knight takes c3. Then you win the knight. There you go. Okay, rook takes d1, queen f3, and then you win the rook. This wins it. This picks up a piece via this. Yeah. And then you actually win a rook. I remember this. Well, no, you can't win a rook in this one. Let's see. Queen 8. Knight b2, b8. Knight a7, check. King d8. Queen takes. I know this is the first move. I think this has to be. think that makes sense. We had to make sure that, see, you have to always make sure your queen has an out. If it doesn't have an out, a safety spot to go to, then you just trapped your own queen. That would have been a tragedy. Oh, I got it. H4 check, king G4, and then king to G2. I believe that's the move. So H4, king G4, G2, and even if he takes on E6, we have checkmate with rook F4. Yep. This should be the move here. There you go. Seen that puzzle before. Let's see, we don't really have time to diddle daddle around here, so let's see, queen A1, king G4, F5 check, thinking it's this line. Let me see if I have it. Queen A1 check, king G4, yeah, king G4, F5 check, king, if F4 you win. Are you sure it's not F5 check? I think the next move is F5 check. I just want to make sure. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then queen E4. And then H. Yeah. I was thinking that, yeah, didn't want to get our lines mixed up. I think it's bishop takes H. I think it's bishop takes H6. I think it's got to be bishop takes H6. And if queen takes H6, then we play queen takes F5. So bishop takes H6. If queen takes H6, queen takes F5. If bishop takes H6, G takes H6. Queen G8 is mate, so but I might be wrong. I think that's right. I'm hoping. Drat. just trying to figure out. This is a oh, bishop takes, queen. Okay, that all right. That wins rook. Yeah. And then we take. Just had to make sure because some of those combinations, if you don't plan them out right, you're toast. Okay, rook. This one's a straightforward one. Rook g8 check. Rook g8 check. Rook takes g8. Then queen takes f6. Leads to mate. So that this sets up for a mate. If knight, then yeah, here. Yeah, mate. That's a simple mate there. Rook c5. I'm thinking that rook c5 is the only forcing move. We're up a boatload of material, so I think we can just grab but actually we're not up a lot of material because we're down a queen. So oh, it's bishop f4. Yeah, bishop f4 check. Okay, now we're making some progress here. Knight takes c2 at this point. So is there any comeback? Let me see, there would be rook c8. Rook takes c8. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, I'm thinking that that's right. Just wanted to make sure because I wanted to make sure our material was even. I think we actually, after all that, we're up. Even after the rook trade on one of them, we're still 3 minor pieces for a queen. 2 bishops and a knight. And then he has a queen and a knight. We have a rook. So we're actually up, in theory, enough, 4-2. And surprisingly, that's enough to win. That is a surprising thing. Queen g5. Let me see here. Yeah, queen g5, queen d2. Chew, excuse me. Okay. Let's grab the rook. I think we can actually, I remember this puzzle. You can actually play rook takes b3. And then the funny thing is black is actually paralyzed here. He can't take the b3 rook, otherwise it's mate. He can't take the a2 rook, otherwise it's mate. So I'm thinking it's yeah, he's this one actually wins. That's a winning move. Let me see here. I think it's d6 if I can remember right. No, it's not d6. Because now he actually can. Is it d6? Or is it bishop, queen, bishop, bishop, sorry, rook takes b8, rook takes b8, and then d6. I'm wondering if it, I'm trying to remember, is it, I'm thinking rook takes b8, check, rook takes b8, and then d6. I'm thinking that might be the continuation. I'm trying to remember. It's either that or doubling up. c6. Okay, so it was the pawn push. c6 and either rook that gets taken, you can actually push c7. I think it's c6, and then if rook takes a2, then you have c7. I think that's how it works. And if rook takes b3, then you have c7. No, you take the rook first. You take the b rook first. So you take, am I right? You take rook takes b8 check, then c7, then it's not c7, sorry, c6, then c6. When he takes, you take the rook with the check. So you take rook to take with check, and now see. Okay. Oh. We'll just call it on that. Really? You play C's? Okay, I didn't understand then. That's okay. Yeah, we're doing we're doing good. It's okay. We'll hit it tomorrow. If you're on tomorrow, we'll hit it again tomorrow. I believe this is the winning move. This is actually what I saw, because it undiscovers an attack. I don't know why I didn't see. This is a straightforward win there. That's like in your face win. And then this actually wins material. You can, let me see here. I'm trying to think, where can we actually play? I was just thinking we were trapped. Is it bishop here? No, that can't be right. Let's see, what can I... Oh, the bishop. That's right. I shouldn't have seen. I should have seen that, because then we can actually move there because of the bishop. I gotta keep that one in my forefront. This one always gets me. I always get past this part, and then you play c6. He takes, and then you take, and then you play c6. Nah, that's okay. I think we'll call it on this one here. We did some good learning, but we'll pick it up tomorrow. If you're on, you're more than welcome. We'll try it again. But getting a little tired because we did a opening on the London, and then we did some of this. This really does push you to the limit, so it's good. But okay, so I got to remember. Let's go over the puzzle continuations, all three of them again, because you have to learn from your mistakes so that you're not doomed. So that one, here, and then there. So I gotta remember that, the whole board vision. This one I got to get the pattern down because I know it'll come up in a game. Say 6, and then you take, then you push C7. Okay. Alrighty. We'll go over. We'll do it tomorrow on that one. Want to do thank y'all for logging on and participating. And you know what? We're gonna keep pushing forward, doing good. 40, not too bad, but we could have did better. That was a pretty mixed up one today. We did a lot of. We're doing to do some more London openings. We'll do one every night because we already have the studies pre-done, and we'll just go over them and learn from them and then improve through that. And what we have to do is always remember that choices and the choice to receive the Lord Jesus, Lord and Savior, is important. We have to always one day decide what we're going to do with the Lord Jesus. And tomorrow, though, if you're on, we'll and check to make sure I say your name right. All in one play. We'll do that again, and we'll get to 70. But sometimes it's you get the lines confused, and you got to learn. It's not fun, but that's just part of learning. So you always got to remember the Team Chess Cruncher motto of hanging up your coats, hanging up your hats, sitting down and studying when most won't. Team Chess Cruncher does, and that makes all the difference. And as Wesley So says, serve the Lord Jesus. As I say, God bless, and I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll try to get to 70 or above 50 again, and see how we do. And that'll be fun because we're always learning and improving, and you're more than welcome to put in Team Chess Cruncher if you have like a line you want to look at. Just say, I got a line I want to propose, and we'll do that. And we'll wait, and you can put it in, and we'll see. You know what I mean? So don't ever feel like you're not welcome to do that. But like what Hannibal Smith said, and we'll end on this, always remember, even inside of a position in chess that looks random, there's always a plan. And when we find that plan, we get to say, I love it when a plan comes together. Okay, great job, Team Chess Cruncher. Go Team Chess Cruncher. Hoorah, be blessed. And I will be on, we'll be on tomorrow, and we'll try to go for above 50, and we'll see how we'll do. So keep up having fun in chess, learning, improving, and always remember to honor the Lord Jesus. And remember, I pray that you receive him, and if you are thinking about it, just keep thinking about it. Don't put it off. Okay, 2 thumbs up, hoorah, be blessed, and I will see you tomorrow.